let me just kick things off with Sundar. You perhaps to set context as to what you think about when you think about an innovation-fueled future for financial services. Is there one or maybe more than one game-changing element that really defines this transformation for you?
There are quite a few things changing in the way we've seen the market evolve in the last 2 to 3 years, which is fueling a whole lot of innovation. See, one is digitizing what you're already doing, which there are enough people doing. In fact, in the green room prior to this, Sandeep and I, we were discussing this about how, a lot of past, what people would call as transformation, was really just digitizing what was already happening in a manual process. But what has changed? I think 3 things which are distinct factors which are driving the innovation. First and foremost is the fact that we have the India stack, which has just opened up the market in ways which was unimaginable earlier. People like my son who wants to play the market with a 1,000 rupees SIP or even a 500 rupees SIP, we could not have imagined forget about when I was in college, even let's say 10 years ago, right? So that is something which has dramatically changed. I think the second thing which is also changing is the pace at which new products and services are being brought to the market, because there is a recognition that if we want to service different kinds of customer categories, we can't do it with a predefined set of products. The pace at which newer products are coming out in the financial services world, it's just unprecedented, whether it is insurance on a per trip basis, whether it is SIP sizes which are going down dramatically, whether it is loans for like very micro loans, like even down to things like microwave, or things like the EMI card, which was launched by BFS some time back, where it was like a rolling credit for individuals. So that's another huge change. And the third, of course, is the technology changes which are powering a lot of what's possible today, whether it is API-based economics, whether it be Gen AI, which is helping to change the way we are interacting with customers, with our employees, with the back-end systems and so on. I think all of this taken together has just redefined what is possible in innovation, something that we would not have thought possible earlier. I mean, at less than $500 a day, we were doing 200 million plus customers ke liye 40 million statements a day. I mean, those numbers are just, it's so difficult to even get the head around it. So that is what I think is going to define what innovation is going to look like over the next few years. These factors are going to effectively define it.
On a side note then, the 3 things you highlighted: digital public infrastructure, the pace at which newer products are coming to the market, and of course, emerging technologies. Let me throw that to Girish. Talking about the insurance sector, how do you see some of these changes that have come about transforming the sector? How are you able to bring in more efficiency and real use cases, how technology is really driving this kind of innovation for the industry for you?
When you talk about insurance industry, if you look at insurance industry, it's the original data science industry, right? I mean, 300 years back, it started with actuarial services, and that's where we started it all. But I think along the way, we kind of gave it all up. We just kept it restricted to the actuarial field. The entire industry, and this is common the world over, right? It's very disintermediated. You have this whole, when you want to issue policies, you have agents, brokers, and all sorts of distribution channels that come in between. So insurance companies don't really go and talk to the customers. At the same time, when servicing customers, and servicing is largely during the claim processing, you have either for motor claims, you have the garages; for health claims, you have the hospitals. So you have a very, very physical infrastructure in between. So I think what has happened over a period of time is that we've kind of lost the initial advantage that we had as an industry. But over the last few years, with all these new technologies coming in, AI, ML, IoT, especially driven by the power of the cloud, it's given a chance to claw back into this whole sphere. And it's changing the industry in a lot of ways. And if you see things that are happening across, and I'll just, you can say how AI helps in underwriting in terms of having a lot of data from telematics, just motor insurance. At ICICI Lombard, we've been having a telematics-based product for a long time, but that was driven by onboard device-based telematics. we are just in our beta launch of mobile app-based telematics, and in fact, on our I'll Take Care app, you can, even if you're not a customer, you can go and have a telematics experience and get your driving behavior rated even now. It's in beta, we'll launch it shortly. But that is an input to underwriting, and that helps you to underwrite better because you know your customers' driving behavior better. Same is the case with managing fraud and abuse. As you know, in the insurance industry, fraud is a big challenge, and again, AI/ML models help you to identify fraud at either the stage of policy issuance or claims much better. We have been using it for some time now. We are in our fourth iteration of our AI/ML model. I heard John mentioning something about one of his customers, how they access call center data. So, I mean, GenAI has been very effective in that. Call centers are the places where our customers get back to us. And earlier, it was very difficult to get what the customers are saying at the call center back to the management team to understand what problems they are facing. Now with GenAI, we are able to really transcribe data every week. We have a summary of the new issues being highlighted in the call center so that we can immediately take action. Otherwise, earlier it used to be very difficult to get, we used to have the system of sending recorded voice calls so that people, but you just don't get a time, right?
On the other
you
side,
read the
on the other side, a lot of the customers are just hoping that Gen AI will solve the problem of punching so many numbers before you can actually speak to a person to solve your issue.
So we are doing that. I mean, we
Yeah.
have AI, not Gen AI, just AI doing that, where you, instead of punching numbers, it asks you questions about what you want to do, and
Yeah.
it guides you through the journey. So there are a lot of use cases with
Sure.
tech coming in, which we're seeing across various aspects of insurance.
Well, that is pretty much across the spectrum, and that's as far as insurance is concerned. But Sandeep, to pick that up with you, as far as broking is concerned, there's no one-size-fit-all. With AI, you're able to hyper-personalize. That seems to be a buzzword these days. Just tell us how you're using technology in your daily business and how that is sort of changed from what we had, say, 5-10 years ago.
So just to let all of you know, last year, HDFC Security launched its discount broking services in the name of HDFC Sky, which is complete cloud-native application powered by AWS. I think, and we have onboarded more than 1 million customers there. Now, it all happens when you onboard customer. So when you onboard customer from KYC, completing a KYC less than 4-5 minutes with as minimum as steps possible, asking as less data as possible from a consumer, and do a digital onboarding. Now, digital onboarding is what is discovery, that enabling decision making. When you land on an application, and if leveraging AI, leveraging data, if you help customer to help him discover and help him to take a decision, what he wants to do, that's what we leverage from. And that's where, then what next comes to research, recommendation, that how constantly you recommend the consumer, and which keep enabling the decision making on the go. And then further steps comes to optimization, because this decision has already been taken. How you constantly empower your customer to keep improvising over the period of time. That's where the technology can help, because eventually, when in the manual days, people used to assist you constantly 24/7 or over the 365 days. But that technology can help you on a click of a button every second. So whenever you land on an application, application is helping you to empower yourself as a consumer. Now, this is from research, from KYC to research to recommendation, even from self-service, because most of the customers have this apprehension, how I'm going to be serviced. Because most of us are habitual of going to some place and get help. But with HDFC Sky, leveraging technology to leveraging AI, we have built self-help, where the consumer can get service by themselves, by by the application itself, chatbots, 24/7 availability with them. I think that is the beauty of technology, which expand the entire universe and make consumer more in control of.
Well, I mean, the way you're talking about this, do you think human touch can be replaced completely?
See,
Maybe in 5-10 years from now, if not right away?
See, you look at what consumer you are helping with, what consumer problem you are solving. Today, HDFC as an institution, we are from digital customers to HNI, ultra HNI, family offices. Now, you need to understand which consumer need what kind of assistance. So I think the one slide which you were earlier going through is how technology and human can jointly collaborate and can solve problem. So that's where we can't eliminate, I'm not saying that you can't eliminate human touch, but using human and leveraging technology, you can co-create better solutions which can empower customers.
Okay. Ajay, a quick word from you as well. When we look at the banks today, everybody is talking about digitization. Everybody is talking about neo-bank and digital-only bank. What are you doing to stay ahead in the game, especially with the kind of fintechs that are emerging, how easy it is for them to solve the problem? Tell us what you at IDBI Bank are doing differently.
Yeah, so our strategy is a 5-pronged strategy. One is to leverage data. Dealing with large quantities of data means we have to leverage cloud. Since we are leveraging cloud, the next pivot point is to leverage AI models that come with it. The fourth pivot point is to leverage the ecosystem. There's a big ecosystem today in India, which is led by NPCI, the likes of BharatPay, and even the hyperscalers like AWS, which are fueling a lot of innovation. And the fifth thing that any bank or any financial institution cannot live without is continuously reimagining their digital journeys and their products. So this is the 5-pronged strategy that we are at IDBI Bank leveraging. You also talked about fintechs. So fintechs, we look at them as partners, but also as competitors. The space which we left open is today being leveraged by them. What it is causing ease to the customer, but it is also causing competition to us. So our NIMs, the net interest margin, banking is a margin-based business. You pay interest for the liquidity that you have generated, and you basically lend that by adding a delta. Now, the moment a player comes in between you and your customer, your margin keeps reducing. So we also look at fintechs from that lens. That is, they are the players who are coming in between and taking away some of your NIMs. So as long as the profitability equation, that maximize profit or maximize scale, as long as it keeps working in the favor of core players, they are partners. As soon as it starts biting into profits, then they are competitors. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, naturally, any innovation cannot come at the cost of profitability and margins. You're a for-profit company. But Sundar, cloud is often called the rocket fuel of innovations. Just give us some examples of what kind of innovation, what kind of scale you're helping bring to organizations like IDBI Bank, like HDFC, like ICICI Lombard, to really help them, achieve this transformation faster, efficiently.
Yeah, see, if we look at the kind of innovation that's happening in the market, if I could break it into some cohorts, right? So there are innovations happening in how we are engaging customers. There are innovations happening in how we are empowering employees. And there's innovation happening at the back end in terms of how new products are being defined, how new services are being defined, etc. And the examples on these are quite different. So if I look at, for example, on the customer side, one of the things that we have done, for example, with Paytm Mall. Paytm Mall today, it has literally a few thousands of products. When customers are being given choices in terms of offers, etc., expecting them to go through a whole bunch of offers and figure out what is right for them, that's probably just not going to work. So how do we then use the transaction history of the customer to try and figure out what would be the most relevant choice that can be given to them? So that is done using Amazon Personalize, which is, by the way, based on the same technology that you today see when you go to the Amazon website and order stuff, where we say that this is a particular recommendation that we have for you, or people who bought X also happen to buy this particular product Y. So it's the same technology that powers that. That's one example. At Credit B, for example, it's more on how we are empowering employees. So today, if somebody is writing an email to Credit B prior to the solution that we have helped them with GenAI, It would take on average about 6 to 7 minutes for somebody to read that mail, understand the intent, figure out how to respond, what other information has to be accessed in order to finish that response for the customer. Today, using GenAI, we are not only able to intercept the mail and figure out the basic intent, but also help the person who's responding with information which has been culled from within the organization's various data sources, which could be both structured and unstructured, to provide a initial draft response, which that person can then quickly review and maybe edit it a little bit and send it out. We are able to now do it in between 1 to 2 minutes, what used to take about 6 to 7 minutes. In terms of, at the level of, defining new products, new services, etc., I think we heard earlier the Zeta example, which is probably one of the most compelling examples that I've heard. But in addition to that, right, I mean, if I look at today, for example, in the financial services market, the level of products that people are churning out, new products that they're churning out, one of the fundamental questions is, how do we simulate upfront which products are likely to make money, which ones, and therefore what kind of pricing we need to do. Today, for some of the NBFCs, for example, we are helping them define, if you are coming out with a new product, how do we help you do a what-if analysis in advance to figure out what is your profitability going to be for different segments, different price points, and so on, so that you're able to initially go into a test market with a particular pricing, see how it works, and then keep changing rapidly from there. And this evolves in many ways from Amazon's own mentality, which is, how do we come out with an MVP, a minimum viable product, as quickly as possible, and then keep iterating on that as rapidly as possible. Because in Amazon, we believe that a lot of these decisions, which we treat as one-way doors, which means there's no coming back, they can actually be broken into a series of two-way doors, which means, how do I help you start an innovation at low scale with low risk, where you can come back if you fail, but once you succeed, how can I keep building on that with a rapid series of innovations? Yeah. So those are some of the examples, both at the customer level, at the employee level, at the back office level, in terms of developing new products, services, etc., which I hope is giving people a sense of some of the work that we are doing.
As important to scale back what is not working out as it is to scale up what is working very fast. But Girish, back to you. When we're talking about this entire transformation, this digital transformation journey, how do you modernize your core? Because the innovation has to start inside out. Some of the lessons you've had along the way that, perhaps some of the other companies in the audience that are looking to undergo this digital transformation journey can benefit from.
Before I get to the core, a bit of background on our entire cloud journey. In a few sentences. So we've been an on-prem organization for a long time, and we were kind of hosted with the ICICI Bank in their data center. We started our cloud journey around about 2013. We put our entire test dev environment onto the cloud, our productivity apps onto the cloud, and we stayed at that for a long time. So almost till 2019, that's what we did on the cloud. Of course, we ran some of AI/ML models on the cloud, but we really didn't think of taking up our production to the cloud. But once we started thinking, and then we committed to taking our production to the cloud in 2020, we kind of did the entire lift and shift of the on-prem data center. And by about Feb 22, it took us about 13 to 14 months to do it. And we had our entire on-prem data center on the cloud, including the core. So we're the first legacy insurer to say move the entire on-prem data center, including the core, onto the cloud. But that was a lift and shift. So I think the big thing we had to do is, we took our entire infrastructure onto the cloud, but the infrastructure was all tuned for on-prem experience. So we had to really work hard to kind of make it cloud friendly. And I think that's the journey we have been traversing over the last 2.5, 3 years that we've been on the cloud.
If a legacy institution can do it, surely the younger ones can do it faster.
Yeah. So I think part of the journey also has been in terms of changing the entire culture of the team. And so if you see at the start of the journey, if you look at my tech team, it was hardly about 80 people, and we had program managers, project managers, business analysts, not a single developer. So my entire development was outsourced. We had all the regular people out there, TCS, Cognizant, and even the smaller services companies. But one of the things that we said that we need to do is, if we want to move on to cloud and really want to take advantage of it, we need to have our own engineering team, and that was a gamble we took at that point in time. Said we'll go to campus and recruit fresh engineers and developers and have them on. And insurance is not really some things that the bright sparks on engineering campuses want to join after they so even if they want to do financial services, they start with banks,
they want to join AWS and security. Google.
No, that's of course there, no, but in the financial services also, general insurance is like at the bottom of the so but I think in the last 3 to 4 years that we have been on the journey, it's been a phenomenal experience with these young guys. I mean, we today have a 400 strong engineering team.
Okay, from 80 to 400.
80, no, 400 strong engineers. My engineers were 0.
Okay.
80 was program managers. So we had 0 engineers, we have 400 plus. And that's really changed the whole culture of the team into how we can experiment, how we can kind of completely modernize our systems. And that's been, they have been actually leading our modernization journey. So because once we went on to the cloud, a great deal of work we had to do on modernizing our applications, the front-end applications. We spent a great deal of time modernizing. We've been on that journey for the last 2.5 years. We also took up after that the modernization of our core, because our core was more than 15 years old, and over a period of time we had kind of messed it up so much in terms of what we regularly do in terms of customizing it, that it really wasn't helping us to scale on the cloud. So we really wouldn't have enjoyed the benefits of the cloud if we continued that core. So we started our core modernization journey, and we are going to kind of be on that journey also over next 2 to 2.5 years that we envisage it will take to kind of shift out of the old core and go to new core. But I think if you just look back at our journey, I think why did you start off the journey on modernization, the cloud? We had 4 key principles in mind: agility, reliability, security, and scalability. I think that's what we've got in terms of being able to be very agile in deployment of new technologies. Scalability, of course, anytime scalability, any on-demand scalability. Security, obviously that comes along with the whole platform. And reliability. We have been able to reduce our incident rate from, which was above 1% at one point in time, to about 0.1 now. So it's a significant reduction in this. But I think one thing which people normally have as when you go to cloud, you'll also say that what is the cost of going on to cloud, and how does that impact you in this? So
especially smaller companies.
Yes, smaller companies, and we are still a small company compared to some of the larger banks out here. But having said that, I think what has been remarkable in our cloud journey over the last 2.5 years, like I said, Feb 22 went completely onto the cloud. 24 months later, if you take Feb 24, our monthly cost on the cloud is exactly the same as it was 2 years back. In that period, we have our number of policies issued have doubled. Our total amount of data we are storing on the cloud has gone 3x, and we have done an acquisition and complete merger of a company which was about 20% our size. After doing all this, we are still paying the same cost, and I think part of this thanks to the AWS team that helped us do that. I know Kiran won't like it if I say his revenues are not growing, but I think
costs are maintained.
Costs are maintained. I mean, what is cost for me is revenue for him. So that's. But I think that, and also to the team, I have the wonderful engineering team. I mean, they've really put hard miles at, because I think one thing about the cloud is if you want to make the cloud work for you, you have to work very hard at it.
Well, it's detrimental to your own interest to be this efficient is the takeaway. But Sandeep, just to toss that over to you, Girish found it very hard to convince developers to, sort of join a legacy institution. You have your own innovation center hub that you are setting up in Bangalore. Was it hard to get people there? And, on a lighter note, and of course, what kind of innovations should we expect coming out of it?
So for us, historically, we were a vendor-driven company using services from vendors. So I think last a couple of years back, when the idea of HDFC Sky came, and that became our in-house tech stack. So from journey started from there on, where we started building up our complete tech stack from providing technology to product to design to to even cyber security to invest as an organization to all space and build in-house capabilities. So though we are location agnostic, we hire people across with a hybrid model. But to start with, I think that there cannot be better city than Bangalore to invest in, where it is not only from resource planning, hiring best of the talent available, and invest in our our commitment towards enhancing our efficiency for our consumer, building up like data, investing in data, building up data models, data lakes, investing the best of the product suits, which is as per today's customers' needs, and even as an organization investing into designs, because designs normally people don't associate it with financial institutions. So as an organization, even we are looking at to build up our in-house design capabilities. So HDFC Sky, which as I earlier mentioned, we launched last year with AWS collaboration, with. After this successful that, we have a historical model of 24 years. Even we migrated from on-prem that model also with AWS and transform that as a cloud native model. So as an organization now today is a complete organization cloud native, which has been served by internal engineering, design, product team. Keeping in that mind, we thought of having our technology center come innovation hub, where we are always on the go and keep being more agile, keep producing right product at the right time. So our go to the market becomes to ride, and we can serve our customer well.
Ajay, if you want to take that forward in terms of your use of cloud technology also to ensure that compliance is maintained. I mean, we're talking a lot here about innovation at scale, but also it has to come within the guardrails set by the regulator. How is cloud technology helping you do that to ensure that you remain compliant even as you continue to innovate?
Most of the hyperscalers today, including AWS, have now set up facilities in India, which helps us remain compliant to the data residency regulation, which says that customer data for the banking industry should not be stored outside the geographic boundaries of India. So these realizations by the industry players, where they are helping us by making the right investments into the country, hence enabling our journeys into adopting cloud, have been definitely helpful. Second thing that I would think that is worth mentioning is the innovation capability that they are bringing and the scaling capability that they are bringing to all enterprises is unseen of what on-premises could do to us. And then, of course, the partner ecosystem that is being brought in by hyperscalers, where you are bringing fintech partners, you are bringing innovation use cases also to existing players. That is also a very welcome scene in the industry, which was, I mean, if we go down a few years back, that was missing. So the scale at which today innovation is happening within the organizations and also within the ecosystem is something which is a very welcome change. So it's good that this is happening within our careers. It will be a good thing to reflect upon this tomorrow.
Sundar, if you look ahead at some of the emerging trends in the financial services space, what role do you think AWS is going to play in shaping some of these emerging technologies, whether you talk about blockchain, the Reserve Bank of India, deploying the central bank digital currency with the stocks of open banking and so on? Just your quick thoughts on that.
First and foremost is that the sachet size of products is dropping, right? And that's going to fuel volumes which are just going to go through the roof. And that's going to happen a lot faster than customer revenues are going to go up. So if I was in the capital markets, for example, the way EPFO monies can now be used in the capital markets, and the fact that we are going to second, third tier, fourth tier towns, etc., and a lot of these products are getting sold there. Of course, it's a different market that they're not making money. Some of those kids there, there's a lot of concern around that. But that apart, that's just going to require a fundamentally different thinking in terms of how do you start working from a per transaction cost and work down from there. See, so far what's happened is people have been used to the idea of, in my industry, IT should be X percentage of revenue, the IT cost. While that thinking was fine when we were in a world which was less, prone to change in the older world, whereas in cloud, and especially with the way digitization is progressing, we've got to have a slightly different thinking. So one of the things that we are doing in AWS is helping customers understand this change. That while you may still continue to calculate IT TCO, which are the transactions that really matter? Is it your cost per order? Is it cost per settlement? Is it cost per fraud? Is it cost per claim? And how do we help you set a target there and then consistently keep helping you pull that down? Because what none of us here can control is the volumes. Because with every new subsegment we get into, etc., the volumes are going to keep increasing. So we can't throttle volumes, but what we can work on is the unit cost. And the unit economics phrase which Sandeep used, which I really liked when we were speaking outside, that's really going to help customers get their hands around how do we even benchmark our costs and how do we keep consistently lowering them. So that is one area. The second is the art of the possible. So today, we are talking to our experts globally. We are talking to our experts in Asia Pac. We are talking to some of our academics here in India in terms of what's the art of the possible for the industry and how do we bring that to our customers to fuel their thinking, their innovation. And to do that, we don't just bring these ideas. In Amazon, we have this concept of working backwards, which is a very unique Amazon style of taking concepts from from concept to prototype in the shortest possible time. It's a much longer discussion than I can have in a shorter conversation. So for those of you interested, please do contact your nearest Amazon rep. But that is a mechanism by which we help customers take these ideas to fruition in the shortest possible time. So a combination of the tech we are bringing, the unit cost economic model that we are thinking, and the digital innovation approaches like working backwards that we are bringing, that we expect will help our customers truly maximize the value they are getting from cloud.
All right. Girish, we can't really talk about future technologies, emerging technologies without talking about generative AI. We all think we've become masters using ChatGPT, but tell us for insurance as a sector, what are the real world use cases? What kind of efficiencies is it bringing in, or do you think it's still sort of in the hype phase?
Obviously, there's a lot of talk and hype about Gen AI, but having said that, there are a lot of use cases that we have put into production, and many of them are not really customer facing because we don't think right now it's mature enough to put it directly customer facing for this. But at the back end, there are a lot of places that we're using it for generating efficiency. Couple of examples. One I mentioned on the call center bit where we're using it to summarize calls. The health claims processing, there's a lot of data that we get in terms of the discharge summaries and the bills that the hospitals send us. So Gen AI helps us to kind of summarize what is there in that bill, compare it to the standard treatment guidelines, and then see if the billing is in line with the standard treatment guidelines, and create this whole thing in a jiffy for the doctor to adjudicate on the claim. This kind of solves for pre-processing a lot of stuff which the doctor otherwise used to take, say 10 minutes per claim. That gets pre-processed and brought up to the doctor, and if everything is green, he just marks it for the processing. So that's one of the use cases. In terms of the backend, in terms of development, developers are making good use of this, and I mentioned our modernization program. A lot of it in the last year has been sped up using Gen AI co-pilots for transforming old code to new code. I mean, that's supremely efficient out there. I mean, some of the tasks we wouldn't have undertaken in terms of transforming very, very legacy, I mean, applications written 15 years ago, which are really the core of your system, but you don't really want to touch that code because you really don't know what is there. Moving around a new platform, almost 70% of the work can be done by Gen AI, and then you kind of, the developers and work on top of it. Great amount of efficiency in that sort of use case.
Sure.
And I think one innovative place where we're using Gen AI is marketing. We've already, I mean, last year we had our first marketing campaign entirely generated by Gen AI. Our marketing team uses Gen AI a lot for creating creatives and films. So you find use cases in all sorts of spheres, not necessarily just the insurance part, but development and marketing as well.
Sure. Sandeep, quick thoughts. We're running out of time. What are some of the few emerging technologies you are most excited about for your industry?
Gen AI, I think all of us have already spoken about that. Gen AI itself has a lot of potential. We have not yet scratched the surface, and from processing to, rather I would say from discovery, from decision making to optimization to backend data to customer service. I think that enough can be done. Like for example, lead generation in marketing itself has so much of potential. So it's all about how you personalize the entire experience from a customer, from a lead till closer, from ideation to execution. So that generative AI has the potential
It's
to
all
fulfill.
pervasive.
Yeah.
Ajay, final word.
Generative AI, as it defines itself, what we are deploying for is for credit underwriting models where it is able to generate CAMs, certain amount of document scrutiny which it is able to do. These are the in-banking use cases. What we look forward to coming from this technology, as it is a very promising paradigm, what we look forward to, and people have said this in the past also, is what we want Gen AI to do is not do my work, but to do those cores which I don't like doing. As a person, people are wanting to do innovative work themselves. So what we want Gen AI to do is probably, and since AWS is also a hyperscaler, Gen AI should work in the space of auto-correcting infrastructure, auto-scaling infrastructure, where that housekeeping work which a technology professional, as a banker, I spoke as a banker, there are a lot of use cases where Gen AI can be helpful, but as a technology professional, I am a mix of both. So as a technology professional, I would like Gen AI to do the housekeeping for data centers, for sure. I mean, we spend a lot of bandwidth there, and all of my colleagues here on the panel will agree that we spend a lot of bandwidth there, which could be deployed in innovation. So that is wishful thinking from my side.
Bring in more efficiency, take away these sort of repetitive tasks and allow you to innovate. On that note, gentlemen, thank you very much. We've run out of time, but it's been a pleasure speaking with all of you. Ajay, Sundar, Sandeep, Girish, thank you for your time, and thank you all for being a wonderful audience. Thank you.